Okay, so this is the real deal. This is the beginning of our practical implementation of the AI solution. Now, I will say a little bit of stuff before we can get into it, so that you get to understand what's going on. So the first thing is that remember to get to the site portal.azure.com. So you go portal.azure. Oops, right? You're gonna type portal. This is the link. .azure.com, as you can see from um, my browser here, right? And then once you get there, then you can hit enter, and then you can log in with your user account, the one that you used to create your free tenant. If it's a Microsoft account, for now, we're going to use that Microsoft account. Okay, cool. The other thing I wanted to talk about is that nowadays you need to at least have ChatGPT or Copilot by your side, but I am a fan of ChatGPT because it works fantastic. So every time I'm doing stuff, I have my ChatGPT open there, right? This eliminates a lot of stuff that you otherwise need to cram. So this is why this course is very different, right? This is why this course is a revelation. It's because you get to use ChatGPT the right way. So in as much as we're learning Azure, we are using AI. We are using Azure AI to make the job extremely better for us. So that's one thing I would advise anyone that doesn't have a subscription to use a plus subscription. But if you don't have any subscription, it's not a problem. You can use the free ChatGPT. And if you don't have the free ChatGPT, please do open a free ChatGPT. Okay, we're not gonna use it much, but we'll be going back and forth to it so that when you are by yourself, you don't need to repeat to learn to cram stuff. Okay, so. Okay, cool. So now the next thing that we're going to talk about is the Azure tenant itself. So you have the search bar at the top here. You have the search bar. You have what? You have the search bar. So the search bar is where you find stuff because there is a lot of resources in the Azure tenant. So but this is the navigation part of the Azure tenant. You have the search bar. If you wanna search for anything, you can. It could be storage accounts. I'm just doing this for example. You can see that you have storage accounts. You can go there. If you wanna go to virtual machine, you can do the same here. Oops, in the search bar, right? So I'm talking about this central search bar. Now you also have this side here. This is the left side menu. If you click on left side menu, you can also see some resources that you can quickly go to. So if you want to go to Azure Cosmos DB, for example, you can do that. But the same stuff that you see on this menu, you can see them in the search bar. And I'm a fan of the search bar. I would recommend you to use the search bar because the search bar will make it easy as long as you remember the name of the resource that you want to look for. Right. So we also have this thing right here, which is very important, but we will see it as we go, which is called the Cloud Shell. Now, this is not programming, but this is the Cloud Shell, and it will allow you to access Azure using Bash or PowerShell. Okay, it's important. We'll get to it. Now, those are the two things I wanted to talk to you about. So the search bar, every time you get lost, go back to the search bar, search for the result you're looking for, and you'll get it from the search bar. Cool. Now, the other thing that we're going to begin with, again, from our cookbook, if you open our cookbook, you see that the very first thing we're going to do is to create what is known as a resource group. What? A resource group. What? A resource group, right? So, what is a resource group? Okay, so we're going to create a resource group first. So, a resource group is basically a bag, right? So a bag of resources that you're going to be deploying. So in Azure, there is a lot of resources you can deploy, and in other cloud providers like AWS, they use things called tags. So this is a way you group your resources, right? So it's just a bag. So for example, you could use a resource group to group based on location. So you can say, all the resources that I'm going to be deploying in this particular location is going to be in this particular resource group, right? So you're using location. You can also use a resource group based on different types of resources deployment. For example, in our case, we are deploying the AI search service. So if we are deploying the AI search service, there could be another service that the company requires, right? Maybe they have an application for an accounting system. So that could also be in a resource group of its own, right? It allows you to do stuff like give roles, give permissions to different types of administrators, and that's what a resource group is. And you will understand it as we go through the course. So that's the very first thing that we're going to create. So you cannot deploy anything in the cloud or in Azure without using a resource group. It's what? It's a bag of resources. It's a collection. It's a drawer. It's what contains. It's nothing much more than just a bag, a collection. Okay, cool. Now, how do we do that? So we go into the search bar and then we type resource group, right? Resource group, and then you see resource groups. You click on resource groups, you open up this tab, and then you click on create. Easy peasy. Now it's very easy to create a resource group. You just give it a name. So I want to show you another thing that I recommend is a correct naming convention. What? A correct naming convention. So I am a fan of capital letters. Why? Because they are very, they look better. So in this particular case, I'm going to create a resource group called async, right? The reason why I'm using, sorry. It's going to be project advanced, right? Project Advanced is the name of the company. Remember, we're doing this for a particular company. So Project Advanced is the name of the company. Dash, what is this? This is a RG, right? Type of resource. So name of the company, dash RG resource group, right? Dash what? Dash AI service, okay? Why? Because AI service is what we are deploying into this bag, which is the resource group. Cool. Now, the next thing that I want to talk about is the region. Remember, there are different types of regions in Azure, right? So if you watch the first video or the second video, I think I was explaining about all of these building blocks of the Azure portal, right? So they have different data centers in different regions. This is where the resources will be stored in. And you want to make sure that if the company is in West US, then put the resource group in West US, right? Why? Because then the resources are deployed into that region, meaning the people who are accessing those resources will have little latency, or they will connect to them faster, rather than when you put them into a region, right, which is like East Japan or England or Germany, and then the people that you want to access are in East US. All right, makes sense. Cool. Now I'm gonna use West US. Right, West US 2 is the region I'm gonna work with for now. So West US 2, and then we click on next, and then we're gonna get to text. Now for this whole thing, we're not gonna use text. No text using. The resource group is enough for us. Okay. After you do that, you click on next, and boom, you hit on create. Easy peasy. That's how easy it is to create a resource group, right? So once a resource is created, you get a notification. There's a notification bar. This is very important. Notification bar will always tell you if the resource has been created or is still being created, or maybe it failed. So always take note of the notification. Cool. And you always have the refresh button. So for example, you don't see the resource group that I just created, right? If I click on refresh, then I can see the resource group. Cool. So let's meet again in the next video.